Greetings, everybody. Robbie Diesel here, along with
Maria.
Red One Maria at Red One Maria.
Well,
you don't have to. It's fine. Maria is
like
fine.
one word, like share.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You going West Hollywood on me?
Sure.
Either way. Dudes, we just finished watching the season 6 finale of The Walking Dead, and it was very cliffhangery.
You knew they were gonna leave you hanging, but not to that extent.
Yeah. That much is true. So I gotta get this out of the way right now. If you have not watched the season 6 finale of The Walking Dead,
don't listen to us.
Turn it off. Stop this video. Go watch it, and then come back in. Come on back after you've watched it. That's your spoiler alert. Ready? Go. So how did you feel about this episode?
I loved this episode, but I knew it was gonna be super duper bad, so I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, and I think it made it worse. And then especially knowing what happens in the comic and trying to guess what was going to happen was horrible.
For sure. Do you feel like maybe did it live up to the hype for you, or was it just kind of like the hype machine had the episode right here, and then in terms of delivery it was here?
I think it did live up to the hype, just because, to see Negan even in, the 15 minutes that we got to see him.
Yeah.
Lived up to it. And knowing, that there's not a whole lot of good coming out of where they're at.
Zero good.
It lived up to the hype, because now you're like, holy moly, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, it was so, from start to finish, it was one of those episodes where everything kind of fell into place perfectly, and it worries me because I feel like, when the episode opens, you kind of see this darkness, and it's really hazy, and it looks like sunshine initially, but we found out later in the episode that it wasn't. But you're seeing this from somebody's perspective, right? And the way that the ending sequence was shot, I have to wonder if the person's perspective that we were seeing from inside a little trolley car was the person who ended up eating the bat.
Yeah. I know. I love Daryl, okay?
I
have an obsession with Daryl. But, exactly. And you kind of sense it or see it, you see it coming. You feel it. And when I knew that he was going to be on his knees before they even brought him out. He was going to be an option there.
Absolutely.
And, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah. So, we'll bounce back to that in a second, but I feel like we have to talk about two things that was addressed in this episode, one of which being Father Gabriel has really, really stepped up, and he's kind of, running things back at Alexandria while everybody else is out on this mission, to find everybody who's gone missing. And he's like, we got the defenses set up here, and we got this escape route and this evacuation route planned, and if worst case scenario, we got the rendezvous points. Father Gabriel has come a very long way.
I like this new Father Gabriel.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
The changes he's made, and it kind of hints to that, okay, now you're kind of getting it. You're part of the group.
Right.
we are, you're in.
He's in the in crowd.
Right,
he's part of the family.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
Where he always kept his distance, and kind of not necessarily shunned everybody, but kind of held that holy ground, if you will.
Yeah. He wasn't part of this new world yet, but now, he's kind of accepted evolved, the fact that, there's a certain way that you have to be in this new world if you want to survive, and he's accepted that and embraced it, obviously. So the second thing that I feel like we need to talk about is the relationship or the dynamic now between Carol and Morgan. They went from back body dropping each other and trying to kill each other to Morgan is hell bent on saving Carol, and I wanted to ask you this question: do you think it's because Morgan sees a little bit of himself in Carol?
Maybe a little bit. I can definitely see his need to go make things right with her, like at the beginning, and then when he finds her, he really kind of realizes that, like, hey, she's kind of going through the same struggle that I went through, and she needs to come to terms with it in a certain way. So he thinks that he can help her, obviously, or he wouldn't go through the great lengths that he did.
Right. He's all about, everybody has this journey that they complete. A circle is what he called it in the last episode, it's a circle. And he also made reference several times this season to, you can come back from this, you can come back from this. And he said that to Carol several times. You can come back from this, it's not your time yet. Even on her, seemingly on her deathbed. And the one big thing from this episode is Morgan essentially broke his own rule with a savior who was about to dispose of Carol, but Morgan kind of stepped in, and not only did he not use his bow staff at all, but he unloaded like an entire clip into a dude who just it was cool to see. But what do you think that means for Morgan going forward?
I think that he's kind of seen a little bit of Carol's ways, like, because Carol is kind of opposite thinking in that, like, if you don't act, it's going to come and bite you in the ass later, eventually. Right. So he's kind of understood hers and kind of come to terms with, like, okay, there's a time and a place to kill or be killed kind of thing.
Sure.
But everything has its purpose or place, and he's very, like, Zen kind of.
Yeah.
Still, he hasn't lost that, I don't think, at all.
Right.
But
essentially, what you put out into the universe, you come back.
Yeah.
So they're doing their thing, and Morgan's kind of monologuing to her, and they ended up being rescued, or at least so we think, by two gentlemen in armor, and they're carrying a spear, which readers of the comic book know that those guys belong to another community called the Kingdom, which has a badass leader that I can't wait
I'm
for
really
next season
excited to see who they cast for that.
I know.
I don't know.
If you already know who they cast, because I'm pretty sure there's some kind of rumors out there.
Yeah.
Ezekiel from the Kingdom, drop a comment below, down there, on this video and let us know. But I thought that was pretty interesting too, because something that Jesus said to Rick before they embarked to go to Hilltop was his world was about to get a lot bigger, and it seems like it's about to get even bigger yet if Morgan and Carol are stumbling across another.
And I'm glad that they kind of introduced that in this episode too, because it's just so much like happening all at once. I think I feel like now you kind of can get into that backstory and all that.
I think the last thing to address really would be Rick and Abraham and Sasha going on the RV trip from hell. they go. They
turn around more than we do.
Yeah, they got lost. They got lost way more than we did, and it was at that juncture, it seems like they are just now seeing the full scale of Negan's forces and Negan's men. And we also have to keep in mind that up until the very end of the episode, Rick still thinks that he's already killed Negan.
Yeah, I think you can feel that he starts to get like the like the big picture of what he's up against, and it gets like more intense as they go, and they start seeing even more people at the roadblocks, and even when they had the Red Rover walkers, you know, that sort of thing, and that it takes time to put those walkers in there, and it takes time to even show you, oh, hey, by the way, we got Daryl, we got all your other buddies, you know.
Right.
So you can tell he's processing all of that too, and when they get to where they can't go anymore, when Negan's finally there, you see kind of the desperation, like.
Yeah, and it's. I think that was.
And it doesn't go away, you know.
No, and I was just gonna say that was like a really, really good acting job, essentially by everybody that was involved in that final scene, because you can really see the fear and the desperation in everybody's eyes. Like they are finally realizing that, you know, in making this deal with the Hilltop, maybe they are in way over their heads. And it was watching that last scene was tremendous, especially for me. You know, you were kind of.
I was like one eye, kind of
full blown fetal position, but we're both readers of the comic, and I in particular am a really big fan of the character of Negan, just because he expounds upon the ideal or the notion of a villain, because he, in his mind, he's not really the villain. Like he's not somebody so much like a Joker or, you know, it's like a superhero type of villain, to where they know they're the bad guy, but they have this mission to carry out their own agenda. Negan doesn't think he's the villain, and that's why he calls his group the Saviors. They are out to rebuild and restore humanity to where it was previously, and I think that's why they're kind of coming at Rick and his group so heavy, because Rick has killed off so many of his people.
Right.
He's looking at Rick's gang as the bad guys. Yeah, for sure. Ha, jinx.
7.
That's what marriage does. So the last scene, I think it was shot pretty masterfully, and we kind of, the ending I feel like was a little bit of a cop out, but at the same time you have to build interest around a season 7, and you know, you got everybody lined up exactly like it was in the comics, and I made a point to mention that, like, his monologue, everything that he was saying is the last, you know, few pages of issue 100 in The Walking Dead. And I think that it was really important that they did that, but the ending is where it got really, really like, because you know what it's leading up to. You know, readers of the comic know that when you see Negan, you know one of your favorite characters dies, right? And I don't think that's changed from the TV show, but how they shot it was really, it was kind of amazing, because there was this giant nail biter. It was really, really cliffhangery, for lack of a better phrase.
Well, I thought they would just kind of cut to black, like you'd see him swing and then it would just go, and then you would pick up, you know, next. But the way they did the blood and like your point of view, and you're in there, like when you're watching it, you're looking to see like what, maybe if you can figure out who and where, like what position and how he swung, and it's all going through your head, but they don't really, they jump around on purpose, obviously, and you're left
confuse and disorient you.
You're left hanging.
Yeah, I mean literally, but it sets up the open for season 7. You know, you're going to basically be dropped right into the immediate aftermath of that. I think when season 7 starts, you're going to pick up right from that scene, or they might do something interesting in terms of show it from Negan's perspective.
They could go straight to Morgan and Carol for the whole episode too.
Yeah, they could. They absolutely could.
That might make you angry.
I think that's what's gonna happen, though. I think when season 7 picks up, just because, you know, everybody is on the edge of their seats figuring out exactly who it was Negan took out. Hopefully not this guy here. But I think
I had a bad feeling, but
I know. I think when we pick up at season 7, we're gonna pick up right at the end as Negan's talking, but you're going to this time see it from Negan's perspective versus how they ended it. You see from the victim's perspective. You see the bat come down, the ears start to ring, he's disoriented, you're kind of bobbly all over, and then you see the bat a few more times, and then it's fade to black.
You think they're gonna actually show like physical bat to head?
Yeah, it's The Walking Dead. They smash heads in all the time.
I know, but like of a character that you're...
Absolutely.
I don't think they will.
I mean, why not? They've already shown arms and legs and stuff getting chopped off.
Heads, but...
Yeah. Heads.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that
like,
might be...
pulverized heads are a little different than, like...
zombie heads?
Severed, like, head.
If anybody could do it, it would definitely be them.
Right.
So what's your final thoughts on the episode?
I liked it. I wish that I didn't have to wait, obviously, for the next one. But I think it was good the way it built up. I like the way it kind of built and like the tension and even with Maggie and the baby issues, you know, you don't really know what's going on there. You got the kingdom part that you're not really shown too much, and then
you're not showing anything like outside of the people
coming to help. And then you got Negan, which was like a very cool thing. Like, I don't know, like the voice and the monologue at the end was
even his mannerisms. You pick it up, yeah. So, what are you looking forward to in season 7?
Daryl living
outside of Daryl possibly living.
I'm looking forward to the kingdom. I'm looking forward to what happens next with Negan. Seeing more of him and the interactions he has with his own people, and just how the group survives loss.
Yeah.
Like, of close people.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily even that they have to deal with the loss of a person. We know somebody's dying, but they also have to deal with the loss of control. Because that is part of Negan's deal with everybody. He takes half of their stuff and they essentially work for Negan. They have to produce food and weapons and shelter and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see how the group deals with that as well. I think that's all we got for right now in terms of a rundown for the episode. You got anything more to contribute?
It makes me nervous that Eugene gave Rick the how-to on how to build ammunition. Makes me think, now you're dead too.
Yeah, true.
It makes me worried about him too.
It's possible. We do know that the TV show obviously jumps deaths. Nobody's
likes to give them out to different people.
Yeah, nobody's really guaranteed a specific death, but we'll see. We'll see next season. I think we should do this not necessarily to take away from the Talking Dead, but I think a nice little recap is in order for season 7. If you guys want to see that, drop a comment.
Yeah. And if you want to listen to it, we do a recap of it.
You said do.
Do.
Yeah. Make sure that you check out the site, nerd-news.com, or follow us on Twitter at Nerd News Show. There's a weekly podcast every single week, and part of our podcast is a Walking Dead recap. So if you miss an episode or if you want a different perspective on things, we run it down every single week. It posts usually on Mondays, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Also, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We produce tons of content, Walking Dead, WWE, tech, gadgets, whatever you're into. A little bit of everything. We're into it as well. I'm Robbie Diesel. This is Maria,
Red One Maria.
Red One Maria. Thank you guys so much for watching. Adios.